I'm Sally Gibson, editor at Place Yorkshire, and I'm here today with Crystal Jenkins, Associate Director of Overford, and Jonathan Wilson, co-founder of sustainable house builder Situ, to discuss the future of real estate in Yorkshire. A good place to start, what are the key kind of developments that you're expecting to see in Yorkshire over the next 1 to 2 years? I'll start with you, Crystal.
I think the industry in Yorkshire, the construction industry is booming at the moment. I'd expect to see housing increasing in line with government agendas. I'd expect to see student housing increasing and potentially industrial and warehouse type developments.
Jonathan?
I think what will come across today is that we're very focused on our areas of work at Situ, and we're working on a project in the South Bank in Leeds, and Leeds has for a very long time talked about the major opportunity that the South Bank has for Leeds as a city, and we were the first developer delivering homes in the South Bank. But I think, and back to your question, the next 2 years we'll see that absolutely transform. There's some great developments that are on site there. I think similarly across in Sheffield are really clear about the level of ambition and have set out a really clear plan of what's going to happen in the next 2 years in the city of Sheffield as well. So 2 areas we're very close to and super excited about being part of.
And how can cities like Sheffield or Leeds, how can they compete with larger metropolitan areas, for example Manchester?
I mean, it pains me to say as a Leeds boy about how we can catch up to Manchester, but the fact of the matter is that over the course of the last 10 years that gulf has just got bigger and bigger. I think the way in which we will compete in terms of a city scale, it has to be about ambition, it has to be about vision, and it has to be about leadership. And I think we're seeing some really good signs, really positive signs, particularly in Sheffield, about that joined up leadership, really clear vision, really clear ambition, and actually seeing that turn into a plan. I think similarly in Leeds, there's changes going on in Leeds in terms of that leadership piece. So I think over the course of the next 5 years, I think we'll see what's set out and actually see how that develops, and hopefully that gap gets slightly closer.
What we've found is just outside of Sheffield, we're working with a developer who have got very strong ties with the planning department at Doncaster Council, and I think having that relationship with councillors or with the planning departments in particular does have a great impact on how you can develop areas that are brownfield and run down.
Over the last couple of years, there's been quite a few changes to UK planning laws, and for example, the Building Safety Act has come in. Jonathan, how has this affected you as a developer?
Probably go back to the point I made earlier, is that we focus very much as a business about the things that we can influence and the things we can control. I think we often can get caught up in the things we can't control. I think we, as a business, our model is all about medium density, under 4-5-story homes that really create great places of sort of a human scale. So we're not entirely interconnected to the Building Safety Act challenges, though the ripple effect that's having has had a big effect in terms of how some of our consultants are now taking on a risk profile to anything to do with building control, fire, etc. But I think as a developer we've got a responsibility to ensure that we're always robust against those things anyway. So we're having to re-educate our team. We have an internal design team, development team, so we're working hard at the moment to make sure that we're always a step ahead rather than trying to catch up.
And Crystal, how can cost consultants help with all the changes?
I think we can offer an important role in providing cost estimates early doors. We can help with mitigating risks in that, and we can also look at value engineering options to make sure that we can try and keep those developments in budget.
And further afield, outside of the UK, how are international factors impacting the industry?
Well, I believe that internationally we've got interest rates, which are always affected by global events. We've got materials increases that have been shipped in from abroad, which does have an impact. And then there's also labour as well, with the immigration targets that governments keep changing, and it has had an effect on the industry.
I think we find ourselves in quite a strange world at the moment. There is a lot of ambition. There's a lot of really clear plans about what we need to do, whether that's a city scale or whether it's even about how we tackle a climate emergency in a really positive way. I think probably my word to respond to this is about uncertainty. I think there's a level of uncertainty that some of the sort of global factors are having on our industry, even at a micro level. And I think that often, particularly for ourselves who, our business is about selling homes, and actually there's a level of customer uncertainty that I think we started the year and it was really unclear, but I think as we've progressed through this year, we're starting to see really positive shifts in the right direction.
And all these factors within the UK, outside of the UK, how have they impacted the number and the scale of construction disputes, if at all?
I mean, unfortunately, we have seen a rise in disputes that are coming through, especially since COVID-19 hit. There's still quite a few contracts that are strained, where they may have been signed in an uncertain time because contractors were panicking, or subcontractors were panicking at the time about their workforce and the uncertainty around that. So unfortunately, we have seen a rise in disputes, and it is predicted to keep rising for the short term at least. But there's always ways that you can counter that measure, and we encourage our supply chains and developers and contractors we work for to, you're in it as a team. We're all building this together. It's not about one person's outcome, it's about all of us coming together to make these developments come alive and for the benefit of the communities.
To find out more about how Overford can help you overcome commercial challenges in construction, head to overford.com. And to stay up to date with all the latest property news from Yorkshire, head to placeyorkshire.co.uk.